Hello everyone, Mr. Happy here, and welcome to my guide to the Void Ark, the new 24-man raid in patch 3.1. To enter, you must complete the quest Sky Pirates and the quest that follows, and have a minimum item level of 175 to enter. You may win one item per week from the Void Ark with an item level of 200, plus, for the first completion each week you are given a Miyachi Farthing, which can be traded in to the NPC Bertana in Idleshire for your choice of Gob Coat or Gob Twine to upgrade Esoteric Gear. Expect a Gob Dip option in the future. This raid is broken up into 3 trash pulls and 4 bosses. We'll only talk about the second trash pull plus the bosses. If you would like to skip to a specific part, please use the annotations in the top left hand of the video. The Void Ark starts with several basic trash pulls before you encounter the first boss, Cetus. The boss himself does a few AoEs, including puddles that spawn under these orbs when he casts Immersion, so avoid standing in those. He also summons several sharks that will target a person with a line AoE that hits really hard. Just kill them before that line AoE finishes casting. At 65%, he will cast Symbiosis and become untargetable. 3 shark enemies will spawn that should all be picked up and grouped together in the center of the room. At this point, Cetus will target players with dive bomb markers before slowly moving towards them, dropping large AoEs that do high damage and knock back. If you have a marker, angle Cetus in such a way that his path as he flies forward is close to the wall and away from the center of the room. Keep sharks in the middle of the room and just kill them off to get him to come back. He'll also summon more of those small sharks that do line AoEs, just kill them when they spawn as well. When Cetus comes back down, he will body slam before doing a new AoE that damages everything in the room not in his hitbox. Basically, just stand near him so you can move under him whenever you see it casting. He also has a new point blank AoE and will summon even more small sharks than he did in his first phase. Just kill them before they hit the people that they're targeting. At 30%, he will knock 2 alliances towards the outer rim of the room, and 1 alliance will be pulled into the center of the room. Those on the outside need to kill the Hydrospheres, and the ones in the middle need to kill the Hydro Core as quickly as possible. Once you've passed that mechanic, just finish off Cetus and move on to the next pull. This trash pull is the only trash pull I'm making mention of in the guide in detail, only because it requires players to split attention a little bit. In short, this room just requires that you kill the worms, moths, and morbles that spawn. However, pagan knots and vines will spawn in the narrow paths between the platforms that need to be killed as well. If a knot isn't killed fast enough, it will explode and fill the room with Void Taint. The Void Taint in the room can be drained every so often by standing on the 3 buttons around the room on each of the platforms. You can see them marked in the video. If Void Taint reaches 100, it's a wipe. So assign each alliance a platform to be responsible for, kill all the mobs that spawn, don't let any of the Pagan's knots explode, and if they do, just step on the buttons to drain the room. Simple enough, so let's move on to the second boss. The second boss here is Sawtooth and Irminsul. Put 1 tank on Sawtooth and 1 tank on Irminsul, as it actually does auto-attack. The only really important mechanic in this fight is Sawtooth's Devour attack. Every time Sawtooth sticks his head in the ground, a bunch of large AoEs pop up, and after a short delay, devour everything inside. For every target devoured, Irminsul gets more powerful and performs more deadly AoEs, wiping the group automatically if he hits 100% development on your duty list. Also, any player devoured will be spit out as a mandrake that chases players around and attempts to attack them for a few seconds. Basically, just don't get hit by it. Also, kill the Arkheads that spawn as well, since they can and will be eaten by Sawtooth after a few seconds, and will raise Irminsul's development and Sawtooth's determination. Also, Sawtooth and Irminsul will gain immunities to certain damage types shortly into the fight, designated by a 10-minute buff just under their name on their target bar. One will become immune to ranged attacks, and the other to magic attacks, so when you see this buff, or if you notice you're hitting for 0 damage, just switch to the other target. I've heard they can switch mid-fight, but in 6+ attempts, I've never seen that happen. The only other 2 important mechanics of the fight are Mucus Spray and Shockwave Stomp. Mucus Spray shoots out a donut AoE around Sawtooth, as well as several targeted AoEs that stun and attach players hit by it together. The stun can be broken by running between the gooey tether, so just do this if you see nearby players tethered together. Finally, around 53%, Sawtooth will use Shockwave Stomp, which can be line of sighted using Irminsul. Just ensure that Irminsul is between you and Sawtooth and he won't die. Other than that, just avoid being eaten and the fight should go pretty smoothly. After a trash pull consisting of some slightly high AoE damage, you'll come to the third boss, Cuchullain. This boss has quite a few mechanics, so be sure to watch what you're doing. The entire fight, everyone will take a little bit of AoE damage from a stacking bleed. It's only about 300 points per tick, but this can increase during certain mechanics. When Cuchullain turns to cast Corrosive Bile, move away from its front side until it stops spitting all over the place, or you'll take high damage plus a stacking poison. When he casts Flailing Tentacles, ensure not to be in a line in front of the tentacle, or same deal with Corrosive Bile, lots of damage plus a dot. Cuchullain will also start spitting large AoEs that leave poison puddles on the ground, so avoid those. At about 76%, the boss will cast Idol of Impurity and summon 4 Gyro Towers. For each tower alive, the stacking bleed will go up 1 stack, so it'll deal about 1500 damage every tick, since it'll be at 5 stacks. Kill these towers quickly to reduce the raid-wide damage everyone's taking, and just heal through it while it's happening. After killing all 4 Gyro Towers, Cuchullain will continue using the same attacks he was using beforehand, except he'll now have an additional attack where he covers the entire floor in poison. This will kill you instantly if you're not standing on one of the 4 raised platforms around the arena when it finishes casting, so be nearby one and be ready to jump up on one when the entire floor is covered in poison. At 50% HP, Cuchullain will cast Void Pact and 4 portals will open up on the raised platforms. These portals spawn Fubar enemies that just have to be killed. However, while you're killing them, ensure that none of them are hit by Cuchullain's Conal AoE that she'll cast occasionally. If a Conal AoE hits a Fubar, Cuchullain will eat it, increasing his damage for the rest of the fight. After 8 Fubars are killed, Cuchullain will cast Pestilence for room-wide damage before going into his final phase. For the final phase, Cuchullain will use all of his AoEs and attacks from the first 2 phases, but additionally cast Black Lung. Every time he does this, the stacking bleed will gain a stack, dealing slightly more damage per tick, making it a kinda soft enrage. Also, several orbs will spawn around the room that need to be popped simply by walking into them, or they will eventually stop players from performing any actions and deal a lot of damage to the raid. Just have someone that has high health hit one of them, such as your 2 off tanks, and go around the room. Just keep avoiding all of Cuchullain's attacks, deal with Black Lung, and you're well on your way to the final boss. The final boss of the Void Ark is Echidna. This fight is really simple, so I don't expect you to have too much trouble with it. Before the fight, mark A to the north side of the room, B to the west, and C to the east. These will be used for tank positions later. For the first third of the fight, it's pretty much a tank and spank. Sickle Strike hits the tank hard. Abyssal Reaver is a point-blank AoE that grants stacks of vulnerability up, so just move away from the boss to dodge it. She also occasionally knocks players back slightly while dealing a little bit of damage. Occasionally, she jumps into the air and marks a target. Just stand near the marked target to split the damage from the attack. Do not run away if you are marked, and do not run away from this person if you are not marked. All stack on top of them. She also uses Petrifaction on occasion, so look away from her when she does this, or you're going to be petrified. At about 67 to 68%, Echidna will split into 3 targets: Echidna, Dexter, and Sinister. Echidna will be aggro to Alliance A's tank, Sinister to Alliance B's, and Dexter to Alliance C's. Just drag them to the markers we pointed out earlier and kill them. If the snakes are too close, they take less damage, and Echidna will occasionally use a giant fire AoE you just need to not stand in. Once they are all dead, they will merge back together with 15% less HP remaining than when she split, and deal raid-wide damage. This hurts a lot more if you didn't dodge Abyssal Reaver earlier, so make sure you try to do that. For about the next 15% of her health, she will repeat the same attacks as Phase 1, plus add a few more in there. She occasionally jumps and does a few ground AoEs you need to not stand in. She can hit her 2 flanks with really large AoEs, and she'll also summon adds that need to be tanked and killed. At about 38%, she will split again and repeat the same mechanic. Just deal with it the same way you did as the first time. When the adds are dead again, she'll respawn again. At this point, just finish the fight and there's no more deadly mechanics introduced. Congratulations, you beat the Void Ark! Anyway, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned for more Final Fantasy XIV related videos, news, as well as other videos on my channel. But anyway, thank you for watching, I'll see you all next time, and until then, take care.